February 27, 1933, and the House of the German Parliament mysteriously burned to the ground. One man saw an opportunity and gave a fiery speech at the foot of the burning rubble. And just 17 months later, and after some questionable tactics, this one man gained full backing of the nation of Germany. And what was next on his agenda? War. Now imagine a grain of sand. That represents one human life. Now imagine a handful of sand, which is about 400,000 grains of sand. Now imagine 188 handfuls of sand. That's how many people died because of this one man. This makes him one of the largest forces of evil, but also, unfortunately, one of the most effective speakers of all time. You can type away as long as you want, but you won't find a full video of the Reichstag speech. Records of his speaking have been majoritively wiped clean from the internet, for good reason. But fortunately, there's another man we can analyze who has amassed an incredibly large audience based off his speaking skills alone, and there's hundreds of hours of content readily available for us to analyze. His name? Andrew Tate. Please do not misinterpret this as me drawing a comparison between these two men's character or morality. I'm simply using the most infamous orator in human history and the top trending wordsmith of today to maximize the overall reach and entertainment value of this video. Strong speaking skills can have a remarkable effect on someone's power, influence, and social status.
Speaking is the most important skill in your entire life. Those who know it, they get better jobs. They get better relationships. They succeed in practically everything.
And they can even change the course of history. In 480 BC, at the gates of Thermopylae, Greece, the Spartan king Leonidas gave a speech that inspired just 298 remaining soldiers to defend themselves against an onslaught of at least 100,000 Persian warriors. Although the whole speech is not fully known, some noted phrases are, "Truth, soon we shall either kill the barbarians, or else we are bound to be killed ourselves." And upon the attack, he is quoted saying, "Tonight we dine in Hades," adapted in the blockbuster movie 300, "Tonight we dine in hell."
Tonight we dine in hell!
The assault lasted 3 full days before all 298 Spartans were killed. However, after the battle, 20,000 Persians lay dead. November 19th, 1863. After the Battle of Gettysburg, where 8,000 soldiers died, President Abraham Lincoln was asked to perform a speech as a casual afterthought. He wrote a 270-word speech on the back of an envelope on the way to the address. His famous speech started with the phrase 407 years ago, and encapsulated everything that United States was struggling with during that time. Lincoln was able to use the speech as a sign of hope for thousands of people who had lost it. It reinforced the Union and led to victory of the Civil War. These are just a couple of examples of when a moment of spoken thought were able to shift the course of human history. And it's the same reason that Andrew Tate was able to disturb the course of the internet, garnering more attention than all of the Kardashians combined. But how did he do it? Well, of course you might notice the obvious elements such as not using filler words, like, or perhaps having versatile vocabulary. But if you take a closer look, you see it goes deeper than just some flashy words.
First thing you do is control the men. When the Romans went and conquered Sparta, they killed all the men, all the young boys, all the fighting age males. When you're left with nothing but females, you can conquer and control a society.
Tonality is the way your voice sounds when you speak. It may sound simple, but it makes a huge difference in the way that what you say comes across to the other person. In fact, studies show that 38% of communication comes down to tonality and just 7% to the actual words you say. More specifically, in linguistic morphology, inflection is a use of turning, bending, or curving your pitch to signal tonality of what you are saying. Imagine you get pulled over for speeding. The police officer asks you to roll down your window and says, "License and registration?" You may be wondering why he doesn't sound sure of himself. Is he new to the job? Can I trust this guy? Now imagine in the same scenario, the officer sternly says,
"License and registration, please."
People will immediately recognize his authoritative role. He sounds more sure of himself. He knows what he's doing, and he's taking control of the framing. This is what speech experts call rapport-breaking tonality, and it's what all the best orators use to create an illusion of authority.
And going up in volume and then going down in inflection, going up in volume, going down in inflection. It's such a dominant way of communicating. He controls the situation.
There are two other main types of tonality. The first is rapport-seeking tonality, which is the first one I showed you with the upward inflection. License and registration? It's unconfident, it's supplicative, it's seeking validation. It's a tonality that displays a subordinate role in social hierarchy. I don't recommend using this tonality. The other tonality is in the middle of the two, rapport-neutral tonality. And this is an even inflection from beginning to end, license and registration. This is likely the tonality you use with your friends, colleagues, and people on the same level of social hierarchy.
This is why the mainstream media, this is why the people who are in charge of the world, yeah, and I will say them, are deliberately trying to reduce masculinity in men.
People who speak their opinions without recognizing the gray area or nuances in between separate themselves from those who are afraid to bluntly express their opinions for fear of cancellation or judgment.
And his entire being is distinct. And when we see someone who's distinct, they seem to be decisive. They seem to know exactly what they're talking about. When you add all of that together, you just create this confidence bomb.
Although he could be much more politically correct if he was more nuanced, much of his entertainment value would be lost, but also he wouldn't garner negative attention from those who disagree, which only increases the virality of his content, gaining attention exponentially. Someone else you may know who does this is former President Donald Trump. This helped him gain traction within the Republican Party because of his quote-unquote says it like it is attitude. Telling stories is one of the most powerful means that leaders have to influence, teach, and inspire.
It's by far the most influential skill known to man. The stories we believe in is who we become, who we are. We define ourselves by the stories we believe in.
When done incorrectly, can fall flat and collapse your entire point.
And to get hot, I got Lange. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun.
But when executed well, storytelling forges connections among people and between people and ideas.
The problem with storytelling is that our defense systems go down when we hear stories. They're already in your head when you're listening to the story. They're only in your head.
Stories convey the culture, history, and values that unite people. Using a story to make a point does three main things. Let's see if you can find them in this clip.
When I was in school, I was on the bus. These two kids who were maybe 9 or 10 who used to pick on me from behind. I came home to my dad and I said they picked on me. He goes, well, what are you gonna do about it? I was like, well, I don't know what to do. They're bigger than me. And he goes, you have a lunchbox? About 2 weeks later, I remember, one of them slapped me on the side of the face and it stung. And I turned around my lunchbox and smashed him clean in the face. Two bullies are like, now they crap themselves because the kid they picked on all of a sudden just turned around and smashed him in the face. So I came home and I got home and I just had the handle of the lunchbox. That's all I had left. And my dad saw me and he instantly said, let's go buy a new lunchbox.
Did you notice anything? Number one, it hooks the audience attention because you've opened a loop and they know that if they stick around, they'll hear the end of the story, which is hopefully a payoff for their time spent listening. Number two, it creates a real-life example for the point you're going to make. It's one thing to sit there and tell you that you need to stand up for yourself, blah, 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 but it's much more effective to wrap a point into an example with context, making it more digestible for the audience. And the third thing, which may not be evident now, but certainly will be later, is that it makes it more memorable. Psychologist Jerome Brunner's research suggests that facts are 20 times more likely to be remembered if they're part of a story. This is something I've recently started trying to introduce on my channel. Let me know if it's working. Tate has since been banned from most social media platforms because of his controversial opinions on various topics. So be warned now that with great new power comes great new consequences. The fact remains, we haven't seen a wordsmith like him in quite some time, so let's see if he can talk his way out of this one. Thanks for watching, and until next time, bye.